Previously on Power. Nah, previously on Squad Goals.
So I agree with you. It did create an urge for me in a different manner. This occurred when I was around the age of 6, and I was at a babysitter's house. Spent the night because my folks, went out, and an older gentleman, was around, and it messed me up. And the crazy thing is, the thing that triggered it for me wasn't even like a sexual act. I smelled a scent. It was a cologne that I smelled, and it just hit me.
I used to think something was wrong with me because my trauma created a whole bunch of stuff: anxiety, depression, not being able to, like you said, hypersexuality is just mostly thoughts. But for a person, we actually, me personally, I'm gonna speak for myself, hate sex. It's only because I feel like that's the only way I'm needed.
I understand exactly where you're coming from because I've dealt with that too. I didn't get molested or raped when I was younger, but it happened more in my teenage years and up until my early 20s. And I completely understand where you're coming from, especially when it comes with partners. It affects your relationship, your consenting sexual relationships, because I could be having sex with my husband and I don't know, it's like my mind will disconnect because when I was going through what I was going through, and this was a repeated process with the same person. So my body would just shut down and I would just be like, okay, it's going to be over soon. And sometimes I can be in the middle of having consenting love making with my husband, and my mind will get a thought and my body just shuts down. And it's like we can go from having an amazing time to me just like, okay, don't touch me. Just leave me alone. And that's something that a partner has to understand, that sexual trauma, like you said, like you all talked about how anything can trigger it. It doesn't, like I was talking about, it doesn't even have to be a smell or anything. It could be your own thought. Something in your mind can come through and it'll make you think about that. And that's what happened to me. And a lot of people, I've had partners who couldn't handle that, who didn't understand that. It's like, why are you rejecting me? They would get offended. And it's like, no, it's just a part of me. And it's like you said, you can get therapy, you can take all the medication, you can do whatever you want. But at the same time, that trauma is never going to change. It's always going to have happened, and it's always going to be a part of you. And it's something you have to learn to deal with. And that's one of the things I don't like to disclose what I went through extremely early in a relationship, but I just lay it on the table like, okay, this is what we're going to deal with. Sometimes I feel, and the person who understands and are able to deal with it, I feel like that's almost part of the healing too. Somebody who understands your boundaries. Because like now with the person I'm married to, if I'm like, I can't do it anymore, he's like, okay, nope, we're done. It's like immediate stop. Versus somebody who's like, okay, well, just let me finish. That type thing. Yeah, I've been there before too.
So when attempting to date, then I want to go to that. When is the appropriate time to bring this up, to let them know? And also, how do you bring this up in conversation? Katie?
Sometimes I can be too open. That's my thing. Sometimes I am too open. Sometimes I like to put it out there. But sometimes people will act like they're okay with it until like is it Zendora?
Zadora.
Like some people, what'd you say?
You just call me Dora.
Okay, Dora. Like she was saying, like people be like, "Let me finish," or people they put on this facade that they're okay with it, and then they're gonna be your biggest supporters. But I've realized even in this short time of me getting to know people, they throw it in your face like it's something that you can help. So I don't know personally because I'm just too open. And sometimes, like it says, even in this word, God's word, don't give your pearls to pigs. So I don't even know. Sometimes I find myself being too open and giving my testimony and giving my life to someone or to multiple people, thinking that they have my best interests at heart when they really don't. So that, is there even really a right time?
No, I wouldn't say it's the right time, because I've had like I'm like you. I'm really open with my mental issues that I have, my depression, anxiety, all that stuff. I am very open with it, and I tell myself I'm always open about it, because I know that there are people who are not able to talk about it, who are not able to be as vocal about it. So I've always been open about it, and like I said, I've had relationships where it was too much for them to handle. You can't, a lot of people can't handle someone who mentally shuts down. So me, from dating after that happened and dating before that happened, the issues I went through, I always, if I see where I'm going to be serious with, like, if like the hypersexuality, if this is somebody who's just going to be a sex thing, and it's like, okay, it's nothing going to be, it's not going to be anything but sex, it's like, okay, I really don't have to disclose this if it's gonna be nothing but sex, because 9 times out of 10, if you're just like a booty call, I physically want to have sex with you. So I wouldn't have that big of an issue with shutting down most of the times. But if it's somebody who's gonna be a long-term partner, and I feel that I see that this person is gonna be someone in my life that I want to keep in my life, then I feel, when I just feel like, okay, now is the time, just put it all out there. It's like, okay, this, if you want to be with me, this is what you have to deal with. This is everything. Because like I tell people, I don't have any secrets from my husband, because when I got serious with him, I told him everything, even stuff I didn't want to tell somebody. I told him everything, because I'm like, this is what you're going to have to deal with. Are you mentally able to deal with this? And if you're not mentally able to deal with this, I won't be offended if you walk out the door, because this is a lot for any one person to have to deal with. And no lie, it's hard. But when you have someone who is truly on your team and truly on your side, it makes it so much easier. So it's
I
just, you
guess
gotta.
I guess the portion I'm having trouble with is what you was about to say, is vetting. Kind of finding out who. I've learned that I used to be, for a little bit, as open as you guys were. Once I got talking about it, I didn't have an issue with it until I ran across the wrong toxic person who threw it back in my face. You know what I'm saying? Fortunately, it wasn't in public. It was just between me and her. But it was enough to let me know where I stood with this person. And I saw how ugly people can be. Even when you think they can have, the best intentions, I'm just going to politely disagree. I think you do have to kind of wait a bit before you expose someone to that bit of information, because it's like giving them the knife to stab you with.
People
And you
can
can't
exploit
give
it.
everybody that knife in the beginning. You just can't. Some people will run away from it, like Lovely was saying. Some people will just be like, yes, I got this, one up on them. And I found out pillow talk is a motherfucker. I found out some things you tell a person will go to another person. And that goes back to a previous conversation we had on a previous episode about confidentiality. But I'm trying to find that way, because I'm going to be honest with you. When that happened, it made discussing it that much worse, because I'm not good at discussing emotions already. So trying to express something that painful and trying to decipher if you're worthy of knowing this information is stressful within itself. And a lot of guys and a lot of women have that fuck it. Just like, you know what? Not even going to deal with this. And it creates like this rift where you really want to tell them, but you also don't want to make yourself that vulnerable because someone else misused this information. So that's the struggle I'm dealing with, of how do I communicate this in a way that I feel comfortable, you know what I'm saying? And when is like not necessarily enough time. When, I don't know, I guess that is the best way to put it. When is the best time to kind of discuss this?
It's really no best time to
Yeah.
discuss, because like she was saying how she was married for, I'm pretty sure it was a decent length of time, and they couldn't handle it. It's no.
Nah. Yeah. That and so my husband would ask me over and over again, like, why are you just so comfortable with talking to people about it? Why are you so it amazes me because he's an introvert. So things that I am openly ready to talk about, he didn't understand that. Yeah, it ain't easy to talk about it. I just do it because it frees me. So for me, there were a lot of things that I was afraid to discuss, like having thoughts about sexual thoughts about children. That was one of those things that was hard for me. But then I realized after my counselor told me something, because you were saying it too. It's about how you have to, you can figure out people's MO if you just watch long enough. And my husband's MO at the time was, if we get into an argument, I got one up on you. I'm gonna bring this back up, and that was just because we both had toxic behavior. That was one of his toxic behaviors, to throw it back up in my face, or to I know at one point in time, because he had his own mental issues, his way of getting through his mental issues were to attack mine, to attack my wall, to bring it down. And I wouldn't have known that about him. And we were together, married for 5 years, going on 6. I wouldn't have known a lot. Like, the things I went through with him taught me something. You kind of really don't even you never know the right time. It's you gotta just pay attention to people's behavior. They show it, and you can't allow love or sex to cloud your eyesight, to cloud, because it's always there. It's always been there. But if you pay attention to someone's actions, their beliefs, they can't just say one thing and their actions show another. It's all in the action. You're going to know if this person is really for you and really on your team. You're going to know because they going to show it. They're going to, even in the dating process, they're going to show it, you know? So I guess my issue is, your issue is not expressing enough, you say, or being open enough. My issue is being too open. And I could see all the red flags and still be like, you know what? I'm going to tell them this. Maybe it'll change their view, or maybe change how they feel, or maybe they'll treat me differently or treat me right if they know this about me, when that's not the case. When someone shows you who they are,
believe them.
It ain't fake. It's for real, for real.
So I want to just say some things. For number one, I went through this. I wouldn't say I was molested. I was almost molested. I think I was about 8 years old, and I stayed in apartments, and all the kids used to play kickball in these apartments. And these were the apartments that, you know, you had to walk into a door, and then they had 4 separate apartments. So, but it's this man that always used to outside watching us. But as freely as I am now, I was friendly like that as a kid. So I didn't think none of it. He used to always give us candy. But he paid particular attention to me and my god sister. And one day his wife or his girlfriend or whatever was gone, but she hated kids. I mean, she absolutely hated kids. Every time she came, we was like trying to figure out like, why the hell she so mean? But she was protecting us. Needless to say, that I found out later. Well, long story short, we went this particular time. The guys had when I guess I don't know what happened to the boys that were playing, but he called us in to the apartment. He's like, I got some more candy for y'all. We were like, okay, come on, you know. So my god sister, she left. When she got her candy, she left. He grabbed my arm. And he was talking to me, and then he was like, lay on the ground, I want to show you something. And I'm like, okay, like, what you trying to show me? So he was like, well, this is going to help you with kickball. So he laid me on the ground, and he started to stretch me. And that was the first time I actually felt a man's penis. And mind you, this man was grown. And I felt all of his parts like laying on top of me. And then later I figured out that he was like, in a sense, he was grooming us. You know what I'm saying? He was trying to get us to get candy. He was trying to, he was particularly paying attention to me. Because the way I'm shaped now, I was still shaped like that as a kid. That's why I pay a lot of attention to my little girls. Not so much what they have on, but we blessed at a young age. But anyway, so it wasn't nobody but God, because his girlfriend had came home, like, and he was like, and they was like, and I heard the kid was like, oh, she home, you better run. So I came out and she seen me come out and she stopped in her tracks and she like froze. And I didn't think nothing of it. I spoke and kept going, but it was really weird for me because I was like, I wonder why he invited me in this time. I wonder what he was trying to do. But long story, the next day they were cleared out. Found out, seen on the news probably like a week or so later, the man was a pedophile and they were looking for him. She was protecting us because she was protecting him. So she was trying to keep all the kids away from him because she was protecting him. And this man stayed in my apartment complex and didn't even know it. So that right there made me like almost like intrigued to know what that felt like again. Not so much I always wanted an older man. I always wanted to know what that feeling was. So I think that's where my triggers for hypersexuality came from. I started being really particular about a size. I wanted to feel what I felt at a young age, what that was, and for me, I didn't kind of pay attention to it. I just realized like, okay, maybe I just like sex, people just say it. But when people call me like a freak or, if you want to try this stuff, oh, you a freak. I'm like, ew, like, no, I'm not. I'm a butterfly. I just want to, be free. That's how I looked at it. I didn't think about it as being hypersexual or just trying to just being curious. I never tied all of it together until later on in life when I got older. And then I realized that I started dating guys, and this had happened to them. Two particular guys. The one, it happened to him by a woman, his mom's best friend, and the other guy I dated, it happened by his uncle, a man. So both of them equally being molested. One dealt with, I was older than him and he clinged to me. And the other one, I always felt like he had to prove a point to me. And he used to bash me and he fought me with his words. He was very, abusive mentally and emotionally. But I realized that he didn't know how to deal with his trauma. The other guy, he doesn't even talk about it. Like, I think it's buried so deep that he don't realize that it happened no more. Whereas the other guy, it affected him mentally. Our relationship was horrible. It was the most toxic. It got to the point where I told him, like, I feel like if we get together, I feel like you'll kill me. You'll have deadbolt locks on the door. Like, I feel like our life would be, me and my daughter's life would be just in jeopardy because he was that crazy. He didn't know how to deal with anything. So I think when you think about, like, when you tell people, my husband don't know. My husband didn't know. I think I casually said something to him a couple weeks ago because me and Jeremy talked about it. And I was like, well, shit, if I can tell Jeremy about it, I might as well tell my husband that I'm married because I'm a private person. It's not really about me not being open or me keeping secrets. I know people, like you said, and I know people don't handle stuff well. It wasn't about me not trusting my husband. I knew that something like this didn't happen to him, and my husband's another race. So how can he even comprehend, properly, or how would he be able to take it? You know what I'm saying? If a lot of men already don't know how to deal with these things or talk about it, how can he, put all this stuff together in words to even, what he gonna say? Sorry? You know what I'm saying? Or what is he gonna say? Like, how do you feel? I mean, I'm open to talk about it now because this is something that almost happened to me. You know what I'm saying? So I think you can feel the person out. And then I think it's also kind of false when people say they didn't know somebody's behavior. I know people, I can read people from the moment, I can tell you exactly how you are from the moment I meet you. I mean, I can tell you. And when I tell you, I've been like that my whole life. Malcolm will attest to it. I ain't fucking with you. If your energy bad, I'm not fucking with you. Like, I can feel when you bad. You know what I'm saying? And I think when people, that's our subconscious, like, saying, like, oh, I guess I'll give them another chance. Well, maybe they're not that bad. It's like God giving you a gazillion signs and you're not paying attention to it, kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? I think we as people, like, or just in general, we don't want to pay attention to it, or we want that person to be better than they already are. we want them to be like, I hope that they're good. You know what I'm saying? Or I hope that they can accept this because I really like them, kind of thing. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I didn't tell nobody. I think my mama used to ask me all the time as a kid, like, somebody touching you? But I think that was because we used to watch Law and Order all the time. So my mom used to always be like, somebody touching you every day. She'd be like, you ain't been touched, have you? And I'm like, nah, mom, I'm good. You know, and then another incident happened probably later on. My mom's boyfriend brother used to watch me and my little brother, and I'm a very protective person. And he was just weird as fuck, like weird. And I'll never forget like him trying to like touch me. He would like brush against me. And that's why I don't like people in my space. Like I think a lot of my reasons why I am with people, how I can read people, how I don't like people in my space, all that came from the shit that I went through as a child. And he was just always looking at us. And I ain't like that. So one day he like touched me and he was like trying to touch me and like pull my shirt. I'm like, what you doing? You don't supposed to do that. I tell my mama. You know, my mom was crazy as hell. So he knew when I said that to leave me alone. So I think that's what saved me. But he got really close one time before, you know, had the courage. You know, I was always vocal, but he got really close, you know what I'm saying, to where I knew it was wrong. You know what I'm saying? And later on, probably in my high school years, I saw him in Atlantis, which is the club. I don't know if you're from Mobile. Club in Mobile. Atlantis is just like the place you go when you turn 18. But I saw him and I told him, I was like, I remember what you did to me. And he laughed in my face. You know what I did? I hauled off and punched him in his fucking nose. And I was trying to kill him because like, oh, you know, like what you did. And he just laughed in my face. He was like, you don't know what you're talking about. And then he whispered in something. He said, what did he say? I remember them purple shorts. So he said something like the clothes I had on. And it's like all I seen was red. You know what I'm saying? So luckily I had friends that were bouncers and they took his ass out, but I tried to kill him, needless to say. So that's when I realized I had the triggers, the flashbacks. You know what I'm saying? Because hell, I didn't even know what shorts I had on, but you remember that and you said that after all these years. I think I was like 6 or 7. You know what I'm saying? So but yeah, I think you already know people. I think that sorry, my kid's trying to get in the room and I don't want the muters. But I think that you already know people. I think we just try to see the good in people. Like offer it. We try to say like, damn, like I like this person. I hope they better than the last. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe they can deal with it. You know what I'm saying? So just trust your instincts, y'all, because that's a lie in a sense. Like you know what you know.
Yeah,
But that's
I think we secretly seek for someone to accept us, and we want them to accept us so bad and accept what we have, the baggage we have, and things we've been through that we do ignore it. So I do agree with that, but I do have a question for you, if you don't mind. Why do you say almost molested?
because I feel like he didn't get to where he wanted to go, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Him
But
touching me, I know in my mind that that's what molestation is somebody touching you without your consent. You know, because I teach my children, I have 2 girls. So I will never in my life like my kids. And that's I know what you're saying when you said you have thoughts about children. For me, I know my husband would never touch my kids, but I don't like my children to sit near close to any man's legs, hands. You always gotta have these clothes on. Like it's not about me not trusting my kids, it's me not trusting men in general. You know, and I know that's something I probably eventually need help with. But that's something that I've came to realization with. Even if I get counseling, I still don't want my damn girls around nobody. You know,
right.
it's men and women, because I know women are nasty. Like I said, I have an ex that was molested by a female, and I have an ex that was molested by a man. So I just don't like my kids around anybody. I watch everything. Like I'm that mom be like, where you going? What you doing? You know, that's me. Like I don't even want you playing with no other kids. I need to know who your mama is, what kind of color shirts. I make my kids memorize what they have on before they leave. And they 7 and they 3. You know what I'm saying? Because it's so much going on, and it's bigger than the sexual thing. It's bigger than anything. You're like, don't be smiling too much. You know what I'm saying? And I hate that that's programmed in me, because like I said, I'm a social butterfly. I like to talk to everybody, and my kids got that. Well, one of them do. The other one, she a pit bull. She like, I don't know you, don't talk to me, whatever. But and that's the little one. But I just think, I don't know. I always, like, even my daughter, she's like, when she was telling me that her dad bathes her, I'm like, girl, you old as hell. What you got him? She's like, cause I asked him to do it, and he's so uncomfortable. Like, he'll call me. He was like, Lauren, she asked me to bathe her. Like, I don't know what's wrong with her. Like, why she want me to do this? Like, he didn't like changing diapers. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't even like to see her parts, and he could possibly have the triggers that you have. Like, I don't want to look at my daughter like this, so I want to, you know what I'm saying? And he don't know that, but he is completely uncomfortable. He still don't like it.
That's how my ex, well, my husband is. He was molested as a child, and so I never.
And see, that's why he
that.
can't accept you. You know what I'm saying? That's why he doesn't know how to deal with it. It wasn't, you did nothing wrong. You know what I'm saying? He hasn't dealt with his issues, and even before you even told me that, I already knew that. You know what I'm saying? Because you can, just by some of the things that you said, sounds like somebody who's already been molested or something happened traumatic to them, simply because he kept resisting. Every time you push, he'll push back, and then he started to use things to hurt you. You know what I'm saying? People, those are true hurt people, but that's some deep hurt shit. You know what I'm saying? That ain't something that do. That's not no surface stuff. That's something that's been buried, and just something that's just it needs to get out. And he find demons that he don't even know he got. You know what I'm saying? And until he eventually realized what it is, which he probably never will, because most men don't. You know what I'm saying? And that's I think our race in general is, you got to be strong. You can't deal with it. Which you smart. You know what I'm saying? You can't cry. You know, they program these men not to cry. They program these men to be, you know what I'm saying, harder. For what? You know what I'm saying? You need to cry. You know what I'm saying? You need to get that bass out your voice. Hold your damn head up. I tell my son that too. Like, what you got your head down for? Hold your head up. I tell my husband that when he feel like he did something wrong, what you looking down for? Look at me in my damn, you better hold your goddamn head up. I don't care how mad I am. You know what I'm saying? That's anybody. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like they need to cry. And like I said, my husband is Asian, so he didn't cry at all until probably we got together. Let that shit out. If you gotta cry, if I see some snot, let it out. Because I need you to breathe, get all that out, get all that ugly out, because that's, you know what I'm saying, that's emotion that needs to come out. You know what I'm saying? And they are triggered. Have you ever thought like your triggers was triggering him? You know what I'm saying? And he didn't know how to deal with it.
I think so. I really do. And I would even push for it, because I'm an open person. I said, hey, let's go get counseling together. See, when I support you, when I'm in your corner, I'm in your corner.
100.
You know?
Right.
And so I come from a family that said, you don't need to go to get no counseling. They always made me fear going to get counseling. Right. Like, your kid's going to get taken, this and that and the third. I still remember when it was exposed that my cousin, which was 16 years old, raped me. They pushed it under the rug. They covered it up. That's that, and they said, keep it in the family. No one needs to know about this. No one.
You know what's crazy about that? I always thought that shit was on TV, but I'm in this group on Facebook where it's just a safe haven for women, and to hear how many people have said that their families, their moms, their dads, girl. That's probably why I couldn't become no social worker, because I would probably go I would become a hitman. Like, I'm not even lying to you, because stuff like that, I feel like people needs to deal with that. Like, that's the reason we're the way we are. You know what I'm saying? People don't understand that that's in our DNA too. You know what I'm saying? And unless we are fighting against that, you know, it becomes a bigger picture. You know, and I think that's what it is. People don't want to realize that, oh my God, this happened to my child. I failed them. You know what I'm saying? They stop thinking about their child. They start to think about themselves when it's not about them. You know? And I think that's why, you know, a lot of these families can't deal with it, because when you start to deal with it, then you start to hear the mama and the grandmama and the aunt say, well, it happened to me and I'm fine. You know what I'm saying?
That's what happened in my family.
Right. And you don't
my mom, my aunt.
Yeah. And then they'll be like, well, you see, I'm fine, but you don't realize that you had 25 cousins and nephews and stuff, that your uncle didn't realize that these was like pimps and sense to them. You know what I'm saying? These are people that was like grooming them or just constantly having them around. You know what I'm saying? They didn't realize that behavior until you started to fight against it, until you realize that shit, this is wrong, and this is, you know what I'm saying, I'm fucked up. I need to figure this out. And nothing is wrong with me. I just need help. You know what I'm saying? So if you
Yeah.
open that can of worms, then they're gonna open the same can of worms. And they ain't trying to do that. They already lived it, survived it. They don't want to open that can of worms.
Oh, they ain't even trying to open. I was
Oh.
shunned from the family. I know the family doesn't talk to me. That's why I told y'all in the beginning, I had an alias for my book because I didn't want to be sued for exposing all the gulp and nastiness and stuff in my family. The fact that they looked at me, and even me I was trying to discuss it. The same person that raped me was the same person that criticized someone else for raping their little sister and made it seem like he did nothing to me. And I would talk to my mom. I would say, Mom, my mom told me before she died last year, my mom said, they do not like you. You know why your aunt doesn't like you? And I said, why? And she said, Brittany, because you up here helping people on Facebook. You're telling people about the fact that you were raped. And she doesn't like that. She doesn't like that because you're exposing her son. He didn't go to jail.
And now it's too late for him to go to jail. You know what I'm saying? And that's the sad part about it. He got away with it. What you mad about it now? You got away with it. You know, but that's the thing that comes down is when it's in the family. You know what I'm saying? You just said his daughter same thing happened to his daughter. It's like it's in the family, and if y'all not fighting again, that's a bad devil to have in your blood. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really feel like stuff can be so embedded in your genes and your DNA, and in, you know what I'm saying, in your family, that shit starts to rub off. You know, unless you fight against it, and you just was strong enough to do it. You know what I'm saying? Who's to say that you would have never became one of them? But who's to say if you would have just wanted to end your life because you kept fighting your thoughts? You know what I'm saying? You couldn't fight your thoughts anymore because you knew that's not something that you wanted to act on. You know what I'm saying? So I applaud you for being so strong and so courageous, because that shit ain't easy.